Tracy in Arkansas, I wanted to save you, to talk to you last because it absolutely is something I want to talk about. So Tracy, you're live with Matt and Eric. How are you doing?
Hi, Eric. Hi, Matt. I am so glad I get to talk to both of you.
Yay. We're glad we get to talk to you, too.
That's an atypical feeling for today, clearly, because I'm not sure that most of the other people who called were happy that they talked to me today.
I'm happy they talked to them. That was fun.
All right.
Well, I'm always happy to talk with you guys, and when I saw that Eric was on, I had to call.
Yay.
Cool. How can we help?
Well, I think that my topic is a little along the same lines as the last guy, but not quite that intense. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I used to live in California. Now we've moved to Arkansas. Totally different world.
Yeah.
And what I'm dealing with
whereabouts in Arkansas? I know it's a distraction.
Oh, that's okay. I'm in Van Buren, right on the Oklahoma border.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very pretty here, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyways, coming from California, I'm used to dealing with earthquakes. I mean, I've been in 5 in my entire life. But out here, we get tornadoes. Okay, well, to summarize, a couple of weeks ago, Matt and Eric, I bet you experienced it too, that tornado outbreak. Yep. I think it was in Texas too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from California too. That scared the shit out of me.
I was actually in Missouri at the time, and I have relatives in the Joplin area who've been hit multiple times now. And of course, Seth Andrews, who likely will be co-hosting with me in a few weeks, maybe.
Which I'll call in.
He's in Tulsa. He's in Tornado Alley and has a tornado hideaway in his garage that he did a video about.
Oh, well, I'll have to watch that because I've said before I love Seth Andrews. Yeah. But anyways, coming from California and having to deal with tornadoes during that tornado outbreak, I mean, I've never heard sirens go off, and that's the scariest sound I've ever heard in my life. I actually ran crying across the street to my neighbors because I was scared and nobody was here. I'm like, we're going to die. But
that's terrifying.
Long story short, what's that?
It's terrifying. Go ahead.
Okay. Long story short, I started calling you guys about a year ago, and I'm coming closer and closer to calling myself an atheist. I'm not there yet. And it's stuff like this that makes me hang on to the belief in God. Just the sheer... Thankfully, Van Buren did not get hit by a tornado.
Hang on. Trace.
Yeah. Okay.
So the fact that the Earth produces strong vortex winds that are destructive and capricious is keeping you hanging on to God?
No, not. What I mean is just the sheer power that's in those types of storms. It makes me wonder. I know there's scientific principles involved, but I don't know. It just makes me wonder, man, is this God's doing? I don't know.
Okay, so tornadoes have an entirely natural physical explanation that is incredibly well understood, which is why you get sirens now before they start ripping up the countryside. There's nothing about them that are supernatural or even have a gap to stick a God in, other than if you think that God is an evil prick who's trying to wipe out Joplin, Missouri every 8 years.
Right, yeah. Well, okay, check this out. What about the examples of, you watch these weather documentaries. I watched one about Tuscaloosa last night. And there was an old lady in her house sitting in her living room. The house was destroyed all around her, but she survived. And they said if she hadn't have been in her living room, she'd be gone. And it makes me think, okay, did God protect her?
Tracy, if that's the case, then you also have to accept that God brutally slaughtered everyone who didn't survive. Right?
And destroyed her entire house except for her living room.
I mean, this is not a one-sided thing, but also that's just playing into this. The thing that makes me more curious is why why add the extra structures over what is already an amazing, beautiful, incredible, terrifying, wonderful world that we have? Why put extra stuff on?
It seems like what you're doing is, wow, I wonder if that could be God. But wondering if something could be God is separate from saying, oh yeah, I'm convinced that's God.
Mm-hmm.
And in the prospect of wondering if something is God, first of all, given the last caller, I point out I don't think you get to include God as a candidate explanation until you demonstrate it's a candidate explanation. But if you think about what kind of God is it that offers no discrete evidence for his existence, does not clearly communicate with people about what he wants or doesn't want, and yet demonstrates power by using entirely natural processes to destroy cities and then save one woman in her living room after taking out the rest of her house? What possible reasonable purpose? And first of all, if you're going to demonstrate your power, like that would be like me trying to demonstrate my mind reading powers by just not showing up and having Eric say, hey, Matt totally predicted that. Nothing about that makes sense. And if the only thing that's keeping you hanging there is, well, it could be this. Well, first of all, you don't know that it could be that. You just can't show that it's not. And that means that the God prospect is an unfalsifiable proposition. And in science and in skepticism, do you know what we should do with unfalsifiable propositions?
I'm not sure. Tell me.
Set them on the great big I don't fucking know shelf until they become falsifiable. Whoops.
Okay.
Don't know. Maybe I'll come back and look at this one later. Have we got a falsifiable prospect now? Because if there's no way to show that something could be false, you can sit forever and go, gosh, I wonder if it's true. Because you can never be shown wrong. What kind of God operates on the basis of, well, I know I'm the all-powerful creator and governor of the universe and the source of all morality, but I'm going to sit here and just let people argue, and I'm not going to talk to any of them because you can't prove I don't exist as long as I'm hiding.
Yeah. Well,
the people who would point to tornadoes as potentially God are the same people who point to cancer as potentially God, the same people who point to mental illness as potentially God. It's you can do that for everything. It's the same people who point to why that tree leans because of God, or why DNA because of God. They are all the same.
The time to believe it is when the evidence points towards it.
Yep.
That's the time. That's the right time. Not before that. And it's okay. It's okay not to know. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's fantastic. We couldn't have gotten to the amazing amount of wonderful things that we have invented and created in 2019 without I don't know. Right? How can we live longer? How can we grow crops out of season? How can we travel and keep in touch across the world? Right? All of these different advancements we've made start with I don't know. You're giving yourself permission to learn.
And the thing is, the things where you're wondering if maybe it's God, in some cases, there are things that you can learn about, like science, physics, tornadoes, etc.
Tornadoes.
Are you at home Are you at home right now?
I am at home, and there's actually a storm rolling in. I'm so scared.
Okay. Well, do you have a television?
I do.
Have you ever been watching television and, like, something strange happens? Like, I don't know, the screen goes black for too long, or the volume increases too much or decreases too much when you didn't touch the remote control or anything else?
Oh, yeah.
You ever wondered if that was God?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. It's only those grand things where our ignorance is profound, where things are unfamiliar. Your television's familiar. You know it does weird shit on occasion. You know that the commercials tend to have a louder volume. You know that sometimes stations stop transmitting. It doesn't even give you a moment's pause other than to go, I wonder when my show is going to come back on. That's it.
Right.
Nobody goes, wonder if that could have been God. When we find a dead body, we never ask, hey, did God kill that one? Is God a candidate suspect in this? It's only in things where our ignorance is palpable.
Yeah. Well,
And the thing is, when the things that we're concerned about, because of our ignorance, are things where we can eliminate that ignorance by actually going out and investigating, like learning about tornadoes, that's on us. That is us saying, I don't care enough to, and I'm not beating you up over this. I do it all the time on all kinds of things. Lots of things I don't care about. But it's us saying, I don't care enough to look into this. And at a minimum, we should recognize that if we haven't cared enough to look into it, we shouldn't be reaching any conclusion, let alone maybe it's God.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, I actually understand how tornadoes work. And so, but yet I just still can't let go of the idea that God created it. But I think it was Eric that said, I'm ignoring, okay, God created it and 250 people died. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, it's like when there's a bus accident and one person survives and everybody else dies, and they point to the survivor and go, oh, look, it's a miracle. God saved that person.
It's like God kills 27 people today on the bus.
Or what's worse, when the tornadoes rip through and like the only thing left in the house that, wasn't damaged and destroyed was the family Bible. Oh my gosh, look at God showing his magnificence by saving a book while people died. All those people, they're just people. They've gone on to heaven to be with Jesus.
But the book survived.
We saved the book, and that was to send a specific message to all the people who are credulous buffoons.
And I've had a caller call in and say, would you not pray to God if you were stranded in the middle of a field in a car accident, about to die, phone is dead? Would you not call out to God for help? And the response is, your God put me there if that's the case. If you live in a world where that God creates all of those situations, then it's a fucking terrifying world. And that doesn't have anything to do with whether it's true or not. But as a side note, notions like justice and human kindness and empathy, that's a powerful thing when we recognize that we're all we got.
It's also
so if wonder is something that blows your mind and pushes you to it, there are better tools to use. But even if that was the only tool you used, this world we live in is wondrous enough.
But even if I was in that car in a field, even if I decided to pray, to scream out for God, only thing that proves is that when things are desperate, I'll flail around at things whether I believe in them or not. It's not proof of a God. People want to play this up as if it shows a secret belief in God tucked deep in my head. Like you secretly believe in God. I had an aunt pull me aside the other day and was like, "You really do believe in God, don't you?" And I'm like, "No." No, do you think I've been lying all these years? It doesn't make any sense. But even if in desperation I reached out to a God, that's not evidence for a God. That's evidence I'm desperate.
Yeah.
And you know what else? If that's the best somebody can do, to say, you know what? When you run out of all other options, when you have no other explanations, even you will reach out to God. All that is an admission that that's exactly what they're doing. They've run out of other options, and so they're flailing about trying to reach out to a God. It doesn't tell you anything about God. What it tells you about is what humans are like, that we're flawed, desperate thinkers.
We're scared of death. We're scared of pain.
Oh, yeah.
We're afraid of
suffering. A tornado is one way I do not want to die.
Yeah, you put a gun to my head, I'll tell you whatever you want. Jesus is real. He loves me. I love Jesus. Jesus is awesome. Oh, wait, no. I meant praise be to Muhammad. Whoever's got the gun is going to dictate what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandable. No, guys, as always, you guys give me a lot to think about. So I'm going to take what you said and turn it over in my head. I'm not quite ready to let go of the belief just yet, but I'm working on it.
I think I told you last time we talked that you're going to find that the solace that you get from religious thinking over time, it just stops being effective. It stops holding that special place in your heart because you start to become disenchanted. But you're not on my time scale. You're not on Matt's time scale. We're not sitting here with a stopwatch going,
God damn, Tracy, what's taking you so long?
Take the time that you need.
Yeah.
On that note, we appreciate the call. We are like
Thank you.
way over time. So call us back another time. Thank you guys so much.